I got to tell you, there's a lot of hits on some of these videos here recently. Comparatively, there are not a lot of hits based upon social media viralness, but there are a lot of hits, and I love that. I love people are rewatching the videos on YouTube. All right, we're getting started here. Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, March 28th, 2020. I hope everybody's doing well. We had a little rain here this morning, a little dusting of rain. It was very nice this morning here to wake up to, or for people waking up to. Let's see here, make sure that's muted. And yep, muted. There we go. All right, good morning, Misfits. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I hope there's a bottle somewhere. There it is. Hope everybody's doing well, having a good day, good morning. Hope you said your blessings this morning on this side of the grass. That's a good thing. And send out your messages this morning. I got some messages from you all already this morning. I appreciate that. And why? Well, because it gives room for more. I love that we have room for more. And what I wanted to do today is, again, check off with some ahas. We've been having some pretty big ahas, and those have been guiding the conversations. But I also wanted to just sit in what's happened in the last couple of days and just have an awareness of it. I don't want to steamroll over them or go drive by them going, wow, multiple breakthroughs. Let's go get in 90 miles an hour driving by. I want us to just sit in awareness and awakening of what's happened over the last few days and how it's sitting inside of those that have had some transitions, and how it's sitting on the side of those that are watching the transitions. What's it doing for you? How is it sitting in your soul? How is it sitting in your core of conversation? So, yeah, I'm just looking at here in the chat. Let's see if there's anything here in the chat. Let me click on participants. If you've got some questions or conversations you wanted to raise about that, or share about that, or what it's done for you, how you're feeling with it. If you're one of the ones that have had talked about some of the breakthroughs that's happening in your day, would love to hear from it. Have you been challenged by it? Has an old story shown up to challenge you, going, well, yeah, see, you only thought it was good, right? But yeah, I'd like to just sit in conversation in some of that stuff today. Good morning, everybody. How are you feeling this morning?
Feeling great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And there's, Rick, I see your mic's off, or if you want to share.
Yeah, I was just going to say I feel really, really grateful today. Yesterday, actually, the whole day I was thinking about just my body, just my eyes, my ears, just little things, the littlest things in the world that we just take for granted every day and just abuse, possibly, in many different ways. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for being the spirit in this body, should I say, and having this ability to channel energy, whether it's through sound or sight, and just grateful for my five senses, and grateful that I'm able, and grateful for you, of course, and this course, and everyone on the call.
Awesome. I mean, think about it for a second. An artist has a chemical reaction in the brain that creates new neural pathways. When we say somebody's creative and we see their creativity, I'm not sure many people have taken it to the cellular level, to the nuclei level of what that creativity actually means. Creativity to somebody is either they're doing something they've never done before. Now, you may have done the same thing you've done for 1,000 times, right? Comedians, they're creative at some point. For the most part, they're using a script, but somebody's come up with it, right? Creative design, creative director. They've come up with the design, and they're repeating it on stage. Artists, whenever you see what they do, they've had this neurochemical creation that's happened in their mind, and they've drawn lines before, they've used colors before, They've used Canvas before, but each time it's something different on the canvas. The ability to have the neural synapse that actually can control the arm to move it in the way of the vision that they see. It's kind of satisfying. It's also frustrating because sometimes they can't draw what they're seeing, but that makes us all artists. The fact that we can't translate that desire we want onto the canvas called our life, it takes some time, it takes some practice, it takes focus, it takes slowing down. I did a drawing for a girlfriend once of a teddy bear sitting like this. I don't know, the teddy bear in the picture was probably about that big, but it was a pencil drawing, and he was sitting and he was kind of leaning back. And I have to tell you, it took me probably 30 hours to draw this. And it was on, I don't know, probably 8.5 by 11, just sheet of paper, artist paper. But when it got done, by God, I got to say, it looked good. I mean, it really looked like it was supposed to look like. And I was proud of it. And the little drawings, right? Because you're creating the fur and doing the little circles and getting the belly. But it took 30 hours. So sometimes we have to slow down to get our drawing just right. And that's what meditation is. That's where we listen to a story with such intensity that all of a sudden we have this amazing awakening that just drives us to a whole new level. And then if we really like it, if as is done with some artwork, they can make copies of it instantly. We can make copies of joy instantly. We can be in a joyous state instantly. Reproduce it here, reproduce it there, reproduce it out back, reproduce it upstairs, reproduce it in the bathroom, reproduce it in the kitchen, reproduce it in the garage. We can reproduce joy if we've slowed down and we've made the picture clear enough. So what I'm seeing from feedback from social media, what I'm seeing from conversations with people is right now, they're afraid to pick up the pencil. They're afraid to pick up the brush. But once picked up, then the work has to start. Picking up the brush doesn't make you the artist. Getting the easel and the canvas doesn't make you the artist. Everything every supply you've created in your life that has gotten you to this point, every rough draft, every first time, every option that you've created, and the ones you've thrown away, and the ones you've went, that was kind of okay. That one's so goofy, I'm going to save that one. These moments in our life that have flowed through our days. It's time to keep painting. It's time to keep drawing. Time to keep journaling. Here's some questions I wrote down the other day. Imagine that, me and questions. How do you slow the mind of those around you? How do you calm down their hyper awareness, especially in this time? How do you, with people who are, quote, sunburn, how do you have a conversation with them without being a brighter sun? Right? We've all known if you've had sunburn, just walking out into the sun after you have it, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that much sun actually hits me. But you feel it. It's there. So how do you calm down the mind of those around you? Laughter is usually a very good way, right? Laughter gets them breathing, exchanges the CO2 in the lower part of the lungs. What is your pivot? Right now, what is your pivot? What is your pivot that you're looking to turn on? How hard of a pivot are you looking to make? What if you ask that question? See, the challenge is that at this moment, right, the brain looks for two things. Will it kill me, or how fast can I recognize the pattern? Do you realize if it can't recognize the pattern, do you know what the default mode is? If it can't recognize the pattern, the default mode is, this could kill you. That's where we get panic in buying toilet paper. We want to have some kind of control. We want to have some kind of control. So if you were to ask somebody, hey, listen, in this moment right now, what's your pivot? What's that thing that, what direction are you coming out of this thing with? What awareness will you move out of this challenge with? Who are you really? How many of us have come across people in our world that they kind of gave us a new version of who they are? Could be more interesting, could be less interesting, could be more challenging, could be less challenging, but the pressure they were under, this moment, this momentous history that's happening right in front of us, revealed more of them. I'll just put it that way. It revealed more of them. What did that mean? What did that change? How did that make them different? What did you, I think I asked these already, but they're worth asking again. What did you come into this crisis with? What talent, skill, ability, capability, capacity did you come into this crisis with that has already been used, been already tapped into? You're grateful you had it. When we heard the runs on the grocery stores, and are we going to have food? And is there going to be any food on the shelves? Is there going to be any bread? Is there going to be any this, any that, any this, any that? I'm sometimes comical, as you can imagine. And we have preparedness, right? We have the food in buckets, if you will, right? All of the dehydrated food and this, that, and the other. We have enough for probably 4 weeks in the pantry. We've got bug out bags, right? Goodness gracious, God forbid something happened, 72 hours. And I kind of said to Michelle, I said, I'm looking pretty hot, aren't I? She goes, no, I have friends I can go to their houses. I'm like, okay, well, you'll be back. You'll be back. Yeah, level-headedness, logic, rationality. Those are all good ones. Let's see here. What are you taking with you from this moment? What if this moment has changed you forever? Why do I ask you these questions? I ask you these questions because these things are absolutely happening to those people around us. And very few people will ever ask them these questions. So if you begin to engage people in a dialogue, right? Two conversations that pass back and forth with intentional consequences, right? My intent is to hear you. My intention is to say something that's worthy of being heard. What if you asked your neighbors? What if you asked your family? I've asked Mason this. Mason, what have you learned in this moment in time, this history that's happened right in front of you? And you know what? Most people don't know how to answer that question. But it's something that comes out of this will serve us the next time it happens. That's what's called experience. None of us have experienced this ever before. We've been snowed in, we've been stormed in, we've been this, that, or the other, but that's happened in isolation. My county, your county, my state, your state, not on a global scale. That changes the global conversation that happens at the spiritual level and the emotional level. What are you not wanting that keeps showing up? That's cool, Michael. What are you not wanting that keeps showing up? What feeling? What experience? What conversation? What person? What emotion? What information keeps showing up? You're like, that doesn't serve me now. It's there to serve something, because what's that say? The lesson repeats until the lesson is learned. So sit quietly, Rekha, with that and ask what void opened up that allows that energy to fill. Law of attraction works. What void opened up in your energy world that allows that to flow into it? Of the information you're hearing, what's truth to you? You know, we talk about here in the United States, we talk about how there's particular news channels that are specifically tilted towards a particular political view. Some people follow a particular channel as truth. Other ones say it's total BS. As you sit in your world, what's truth to you? What new truth have you accepted? What truth did you have that was challenged? Can't read with my glasses. I heard it said, and this was by an actor. There was a movie. Rich guy, always drunk. There's a song about him. Little short guy played the rich guy. And there's this actor, British actor, who's now kind of this guru, gone on his his personal journey, and I can't think of his name. Anyways, I can see all of the actors. I can't think of it, but I'll remember it. But he said, with where we are right now in this moment in history, he said, you know, I live a very blessed life. And he's done drugs, and he's done all of the stuff, and alcohol and drugs, and been to rehab who knows how many times. But he said, how would you like to be an actor now? He said, because fame doesn't protect you from any of this. He said, it may give you the ability to do things other people can't. He said, but here's the thing. And then he said this, he meant it in the subtlest and the loveliest of ways. Jair, hello from Panama. He said, this is not a time to be poor in the world. Now, when he said that, I understood from a monetary standpoint, from the homeless standpoint, right? There's lots of challenges, and those people are being affected greatly because there is no social distancing. There is no place to go and isolate yourself. But then I also heard in my head, this is not a time to be poor in the world in every respect of what you could be poor in. Poor in love, poor in society, poor in mind, poor in finances. So what area of your life, of the 6 areas of your life, your mind, your body, your spirit, your family, your finances, society, which one of those areas do you think you're a little less than in? What would becoming rich in one of those areas be like? What would adding wealth to your mind look like? What would wealth adding to your society look like? What would wealth adding to your body look like? What would that look like? What would it feel like? What would it sound like? What would it taste like? What would adding wealth to your awareness look like? Is that making sense? Over the last couple of days, we've seen 4 very strong women have some releases that added tremendous wealth to them. I believe it added tremendous wealth to them. What Brittany went through 2 days ago, what Michelle revealed to us that she was going through at the exact same moment, the awareness that she was happening. This wealth of new awareness, this wealth of, oh, well, that makes sense. What Gina was going through. What Brianna's going through in St. Thomas, these wealths of can I get through it? And all of a sudden it's like, do y'all remember when Brianna says, oh, I'm not sure if I should go on a trip? She's already gone and come back. That's history. And now she's back in 14 days of voluntary quarantine in her backyard in a tent. These 14 days will come and go as well. And it's all of a sudden, it's a what if turns into, do you remember when? What happens when your what ifs turn into, do you remember when? Do you remember when? Do you remember that time that I spent 14 days in the backyard? Mom, tell us about the time that you were in the backyard. What happened? That the Corona thing? You guys were drinking beer? No, it wasn't the Corona thing. It was the coronavirus. You really spent 14 days in the backyard? What was it like? You know, from what I remember, it wasn't that bad. See, the mind remembers things. It kind of always levels them off. It was never as bad as it was, and it was never as good as it was. It was okay. What are you all feeling? What's showing up in your minds? What are you awakening to? What are you hearing? What have you journaled that you were surprised you journaled? What have you seen that you've surprised you've seen? What have you said to somebody that when it came out of your mouth, you're like, wow, did that just come out of me? Jair, if you can chat, I'd love to ask you a question. And you don't have to come on camera. You can just chat. Jair's down in Panama, and he's been doing lives a couple of times a day. I'm just absolutely amazed at. So Jair, you doing these lives every day, what's changed for you? I mean, because from your first one, right, to the ones you do now, and now you're doing like PSAs, public service announcements, talking about people you need blood in country, and maybe about people where to go for donations and how to do that correctly, and encouraging everybody to stay home. What's changed for you?
Hello, morning.
Good morning, Jair.
Bless you. Since the first time, um, I think that sometimes I feel like a little afraid
Mhm.
to talk and to don't hear anybody on the other side.
That's
Uh,
that's hard for speakers, right? For us to just talk into the air.
yeah, but after each one that I finish, I saw that there are people also writing, sending likes, sending hearts, and sending little messages. Um, then I realized that there are people that they start following us, and they are also afraid. When we started by the first time, after each alive that I finish, they start asking questions that maybe they don't know how to do it, but after that they hear us talking to anybody, they think that we don't have that afraid. But I say to all of them, we start in the same way. We start with the same afraid, when the with the same issue with our hands, our feeling that we're like a cold hot or something like that. Um, Also, the thing of the donation of the blood is because I was a flight attendant when I was young, and in that moment I realized that we need to be careful people, because money and all the other stuff, they can come then they can go, but we need to be careful of our family people. It doesn't matter from where they are, our home, from our country. Um, that's why I need to talk yesterday about that, because there are a lot of people that they never donate blood because of the same situation. They feel afraid if that they heart, if they wanna feel, I don't know, bad, but it doesn't. It's that's why I was need to talk to everybody that after that you finish, you feel better. Okay, you feel, you, I don't know how to explain that. You feel like you get something else that some maybe you need it. Um, I feel like I don't know, like a 100% better previously that I went there. Unfortunately, yesterday I can do it because I have a trip to Costa Rica. We need to be honest on the interview previously of the donation. I feel sad, but the doctor said, "Don't worry. The first thing is that you come now. You know that you can come on April 15 again. We're gonna wait for you because we need it. We have like a 87% less of the people are there coming because of the coronavirus.
Wow. So
Uh,
there's a huge shortage.
yeah. And this is the other thing is that this is not only something that is happening in Panama City, it's happening around the world. Okay, because of the same feel of afraid. Okay, that's why I need to talk about that, to encourage people that they are outside there. There are people that need us. That if we are okay, there are people out there that they need us. That's it.
Wow. So, and folks, so I want to brag on Jair for just a minute. Um, he's an amazing soul who has a huge desire to help his team, to help his country, to help his friends and his family. And I met him 3 years ago, uh, maybe 4 years ago, and he's just always been this amazing heart. And he inspires me every day. So the reason I share that, the reason I ask that is because there you just heard from the country of Panama. How many of us, it wouldn't have mattered where he was at because we all have the same feeling. This is happening on a global scale. And you know what? It never dawned on me what he just said about 87%, 80 to 90% reduction in people showing up to give blood. Giving blood wasn't always on my calendar. I've given 5 gallons in my lifetime, but it's out of sight, out of mind. So it's interesting to see what happens when we have conversations. And what I really love is how much because when we were down there, I was down in Costa Rica and the teams were all in from country. And I said, we just got to start. I don't know what do I say? I don't know, but we got to start. There's a void right now and we can fill it with love and faith and courage. And I got to tell you, I tried to count up the videos that was going on inside the organization, inside of the teams. And when it got to over, I think 60 or 70 videos that happened in a week, where there used to be 3, a Tuesday night, a Monday night, and a training. And some people would do a live every now and then, half a dozen. But to go from half a dozen to over 50, 60 videos inside your community, it became the new TV station. Why? Because it was giving hope. It was developing consistency. It was providing valuable information. It wasn't get my product. It was, we're in this together. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm using to clean with. Here's what I'm using. Here's how I'm cooking today. So I say that because you should be doing that. You could be doing that. Not should be. You could be doing that too. Just being a good neighbor on a global scale. Thanks, Jair, for sharing, brother. I appreciate you. Brittany, I see your hands up.
Yeah, hey everybody.
Who's actually excited now when Brittany raises her hand? It's like, oh, here we go.
So something came to me while is it Jair was
Yep.
speaking, and what that was that it caused like a trickle down effect of all these thoughts, right? So I was asking myself, as I've asked before on the call, about being in a state of allowance and receiving things. But that's not the issue. I believe that the issue would be feeling deserving. And this state of time right now reminded me of a time. So I grew up in Chicago and there was a very high crime rate. And I remember specifically that when people would be murdered, I would feel so guilty. Like, haha, I would I would feel so guilty if I were getting my nails done or shopping at the mall. And I would just think to myself, how dare I be doing these things while other people are literally losing their lives? And it was also a point of time a couple years ago where I traveled a lot, and back and forth on the plane and being there, I would feel very guilty, very, very, very guilty, as if I didn't deserve these things. And here I am again, and they're in the months of pandemic, and people are dying and losing their lives. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to New York. Okay, I'm gonna just go to Chicago. Okay, I'm gonna stay home and make money. And that sense of guilt is coming back to me, and I don't understand if it's attached to my train of thought of believing that I'm not deserving, or I don't. Can you help me work through that?
Sure. So there's 2 things I'm hearing right now. One is the mindset and the other is the mind makeup. So I'm going to talk a little about the mindset. And the mindset is that's a pattern of you having had a huge release, of you being good enough, of you being in touch and finally having a break free and a breakthrough. And let me put it this way. You know, in the movies, when the kids are going into a neighbor's yard to go get the ball, and there's the huge Rottweiler or Saint Bernard or German Shepherd that's on the chain. Well, imagine that German Shepherd having 2 chains on it. The German Shepherd knows the first chain. It knows exactly where the end of that chain is, knows exactly how far it can run. And it starts to slow down because it knows it's about to get its neck jerked. But at one point, Sandlot, exactly, and the chain breaks free. And all of a sudden it has this new, wait a minute, this is where I used to stop and now I'm free. And then it starts running like crazy because now it believes it's free until the second chain kicks in. Do you think there's, what do you think happens the first time it hits that new chain? There's a hell of a lot of new pain, isn't there? And that's what's happening now. You're hitting this new chain. And this new chain has everything to do with the first chain, has nothing to do with the first chain. I don't know. But that's all this is. This is the second release. This is the second breakthrough. This is from childhood. Who do you think, where do you think the idea of feeling guilty came from? If you were to sit with that, this new awareness, when you were 13 or going to the store, going to the mall, you heard somebody was murdered and you went to go buy something. Where did the idea that would made you guilty? Where did that idea come from? Where do you think you were given that ability to feel guilty? Can you go back to remember maybe possibly
situational or like overall from the foundation?
Well, yeah, if you can go back to the first time you felt guilty, can you remember one of the first times you ever felt guilty about something? Was it about
No.
a toy you got? Was it about a friend you had that liked you more than somebody else?
I don't think I can remember that so far.
Okay. So can you remember something you bought that made you feel guilty? Or you said going to the mall.
Well, it's this one particular instance that I still remember now.
Okay.
And it was the one that I gave about I was getting my nails done
Okay.
at home with
Okay.
my mom.
Okay.
And we got the news that someone was murdered. And no, that's not how it happened. We weren't at home. She worked in a salon. And I was getting my nails done on the night. And then the next day, I heard about the news. And I was like, how dare I just be sitting here doing this?
Okay. So can you remember something that you were doing besides getting news from the outside, but something you were doing that you were ever told, how dare you're doing this, period? How dare you think you can have an extra serving of something at dinner, or you can draw something, or you can wear something? Do you remember that being told? Did you transfer this guilt from mom to somebody else, to news and murders in your community?
I don't know.
So go back to that moment, the one that you remember particularly. Right? Do you remember about how old you were?
I was in high school,
Okay.
early stages of high school.
Okay. So early high school. Do you remember, was it kind of weekdays or weeknight or weekend when it transpired?
It was, I want to say it was kind of towards the ending of the week.
Okay.
but I don't think it was a weekend.
Do you remember what you might have been wearing, or kind of what genre it was at the time?
Uh,
Can you kind of see yourself?
I want to say it was like 2009-ish.
Okay.
That's the wrong time period. That's wrong.
Okay.
About 2000, and I was not in high school in 2009. um 2006-ish.
Okay. So around 2006-ish. Can you remember the house?
We were in a salon.
Oh, can you remember the salon?
I can.
Okay. Were you like, where were you sitting in were you sitting at the table? Were you sitting at a chair where they do your feet and stuff as well, or sitting at a table where they do the nail?
Yeah, I was at the nail table,
Okay. At the nail
and my
table.
mom, she sat in the front. She sat in the front.
Okay.
There were two sides. It was 3 and 3, and she sat in the first one by the window.
Okay. And do you remember what it was feeling like to get your nails done? Do you remember, do you happen to remember what you were getting your nails done like?
I thoroughly enjoy getting my nails done, so I'm just gonna assume that I was extremely elated.
Okay. So you were extra elated, you were happy at it. Can you get into that sense? Can you get into that feel? Can you remember sitting there in the chair?
I can see it. I don't feel it.
Okay. So take where you're seeing you, because you're standing being the observer. You know how they do in the movies where they kind of like scooch into the body?
Yeah, I
Go
guess.
walk, go walk over into the body. Go walk over into that spirit. And see if you can feel the nail tech holding your hand, or filing or cleaning your nails. See if you can get to that feeling. See if you can see the light on your hands.
Woohoo, this is crazy. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to stay seated there for just a second. And since you're already engaged in this, I'm just going to walk over to you, and you're going to be enjoying it. And I just want you to hear there's no guilt in having fun. There's no guilt in enjoying your day. And you're kind of looking around wondering, where's all this coming from? But just go back to feeling the nails. Go back to feeling the chair if you can feel the chair. You're an amazing soul. You bring great joy to the world. You deserve this joy. You deserve this freedom. You still sitting in the chair?
Yes.
Okay. Now go ahead and do like they do in the movies. Scooch out of the body. It's a technical word, by the way, scooch. And now you're standing there in the salon seeing yourself. You got that picture?
Okay. Hmm.
Now I want you to walk over to you. The one who is now. And I want you to see you, the one who was then. And when you, the one getting your nails done, looks up at you, the one who is now, you recognize each other. What do you say to her? What do you say to Brittany 2006? What do you want? What message do you want to leave her with right now?
I just see smiling.
That she's
I
strong.
don't. I just see smiling.
Okay.
That's all.
So that, but what message would you want to say to her? What message would you want to say to that young girl who's absolutely this amazing soul, who's been through hell and back? What encouragement would you want to say to her? She's worthy. She's capable. That in the year 2020, you will give freedom to a woman you've never met
Yo, how are
before.
you guys? Oh, Sean's right there with me. Brittany, how are you? I'm good, girl.
So this conversation that you're having is about you being more.
Is it? I naturally want to combat that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking about now inside of my business. And I resonated, or I've been able to attract a very large amount of people into my business, and in a very short time span. And yeah, it's yes, I'm excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what I've been wanting. This is, and there are people who are aligned with my values and the culture, but for some reason I feel as if I won't be able to handle it all, which I think kind of goes back to me feeling undeserving and incapable. Are those all synonymous? They're not.
Well, they all give you the same feeling. It's just different listings.
Okay.
I'm not capable. I'm not worthy. I'm not this. Okay, so there's the pile of crap over there. That's me. Let me just go over there and I can give it 1,001 names.
Right. Yeah. And I have a little bit of shock factor. It was so shocking to me that I thought about it and asked these questions and before I went to sleep. And it was so heavy that I woke up and wrote 2 pages of questions to myself. And if you can remember before, I would never write stuff down. I would just hear it. But I was like, no, I gotta write this down. I need the answers. And for right now, I'm just stuck. And I know that karma is a recycle of energy. And I wholeheartedly believe that I put out great things into the world more than I put out not great things. And so when I do good and good comes back to me, why am I surprised? Because if I do one bad thing and bad comes back to me, I beat myself up about it. Is this all the same thing?
Mm.
Am I like running off the path here?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, no. What the challenge? Here's the thing: you're running, and you don't need to.
Right.
What are you running away from? What are you running towards to? Because you can't run; you can only be. Right now, in this moment, you can choose joy. You can choose misery. What's the story you're telling yourself to give you the result you think you're allowed? I can have the crappiest thought in the world and go, oh my God, you know what I just learned from that? That came to bring me joy. And people are like, what? How could this moment in time bring you joy? Things that have happened to you, the things that you've lost, the things that I didn't lose them. They weren't mine. They were here to bring me joy, to allow me to experience things at a new level. I now get to experience things at this level. The sun doesn't care if I have money or don't have money. The sun will grow the things the sun will grow. I put plants in the backyard. I haven't done a thing to them since, well, a couple of grapevines 4 years ago, and all of a sudden they're growing and they're doubling every day. And it's like, I'm sitting here having a conversation with you and they're outside going, being the best grapevine they can be, and they're growing. And the rain is out now, and the rain just shows up at the perfect time. It's this thing. We're going to have more acorns than we ever thought possible in the fall. I don't know what you do with acorns, but I know the squirrels love them. Big old fat bootied squirrels running around with their cheeks stuffed in the fall. That's all happening now. Everything you're doing now is 6 to 9 months away. What you're getting right now is your harvest from 6 to 9 months ago. "21 days to form a habit, 90 days to make it sink in." That's a bunch of crap. It takes a year. 21 days to become conscious of the habit, 90 days to make it, you become a conscious competent. But you don't become an unconscious competent till a year. This new awakening you had 2 days ago is challenging you. You're going to be challenged. I told you, you're going to get ready for the shitstorm. It's coming. Be aware of how things absolutely smell different to you, look different to you, because you have just absolutely changed your trajectory. That balloon is let free, and now you're chasing the balloon around. And you're running into walls, and it's like, well, why can't I get the balloon? Well, because you hit this wall. What's that wall? Guilt. Aw, I love you, guilt. You can't stop me. Then I run into this one, doubt. Where's all these walls? That's because you're free. You finally got let loose, and you just realized you're in a bigger box. And now guilt shows up, and deep fear shows up, and doubt shows up, and maybe, I don't know, do I need to get my nails done? Should I be able to do this? Can I get should I get a coffee? Should I just get a black? And that's just your brain, your old story going, look, she's not free yet. Decide who's going to be on stage. And that scared little girl can stand out on stage who teared and cried and kept saying, damn, I can't believe I'm going to say this. And then you said it anyways. This is every one of us. This is every one of us at every moment at a subconscious level, 70,000 thoughts a day. This is every moment, unless you slow the moments down. And the way you slow the moments down is meditation and calm, and be aware and breathe and feel your butt on the chair that you're sitting on right now. Feel your feet on the floor if they're touching it. Feel the clothes on your body if you're there. You want to get into the moment, feel the clothes on your body. Can you notice your right hand without looking at it, without moving it? Can you notice it? Can you? Anybody? These are just how you get it. How do you get into the moment? When guilt shows up, where is guilt? It's an argument you're having with something that's not in the room.
Is guilt of the heart or of the mind?
Let me ask you, is guilt of the heart or the mind? And is it guilt or is it shame?
I don't have a relationship with shame.
Oh, okay.
Why are you laughing?
You don't have a relationship with shame?
Not that I know of.
Okay. When somebody's stupid, is that guilt or is that shame?
Neither. Maybe guilt.
Guilt is they didn't learn enough. Stupid is shame. Stupid is making them less than. You absolutely,
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. So
you absolutely have a relationship with guilt. And the reason they're stupid is because you don't want to be stupid. So therefore you don't want to be in shame yourself. So you've lived in shame.
right, I just deduced that when you said that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I shame. I may not be shameful, but I do shame others.
Why do you shame? Why did you shame? Because you were full of shame.
Was I?
Take a look. Because you would do that, and then shame is what causes people to not take action. That's the difference between guilt and shame. Shame causes you to be stuck, stubborn, without action and jump off a bridge. Shame kills people. Guilt does not.
I'm not understanding this.
Guilt is action. When you're guilty about something, I'm not eating anymore. I'm going to start working, and you
I
clean
get
up
it.
your pantry.
Yeah.
But shame
Okay.
causes me to sit there and just absolutely fall deeper and deeper and deeper into depression and deeper into depression. And I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I can't be good enough. So the only way out of that is to fight your way out. And I can fight my way out of shame by being shameful.
That just, okay, so that just made me think of my mom.
Now they can only teach what they teach. See, you just learned something new. So now that you have new awareness, you can take new actions.
So now I feel as if the shame was just passed down and then passed down again.
And it was wired.
Yeah.
Has anybody heard how many times Brittany hasn't said the word like?
I said it once.
Are you getting this? Do you see do you see how much your old story is fighting, and it's going to throw guilt at you? It's going to throw high school stories at you. You got to laugh. You literally have to laugh. I'd go, and that's the best you got, taking me back to high school and when I felt guilty because of somebody getting murdered? That's the best you got? I thought you were tougher than this. Why'd I wait so long to kick you square in the teeth? That's the best you got, reminding me from high school. Okay. Man, I thought you were tougher than that. I'm shocked I gave you as much authority over me as you did. Because if you're not having those questions out loud, if you're not having these conversations in a loud verbal dialogue, it's happening at 40,000, 15,000 words a minute under your subconscious. And you're trying to fight it. And there's nothing to fight. There's nothing to fight. It's an old story. What are you fighting? You're in this moment right now, filled with joy and energy and love and peace. And you had a breakthrough like bejeebies 2 days ago. And you're going back into the story. You're going back. Why are you going back? Brittany, come out of the cave. My favorite chair is in here. Yeah, but it's dark in there. I know, but I know where the chair is at.
Interesting.
You're amazing.
This is good stuff. This is good stuff.
But see how all of a sudden it's these flashes pop up. And you're like, oh my gosh, is that the case? How did you know that? This has been going on for years. How did all of a sudden it come to the realization? Because it's been sitting there at the surface, waiting you for calm down, for somebody to cause you to look at it another way. Wait a minute, how is that? Whoa, wait a minute, I just saw that. Oh my God. And then you start to connect the dots, and then distraction will show up, right? I don't know, the car will backfire outside, or somebody will knock on a wall, and you'll lose that pattern until. What a great laugh that was. Wow, insert evil laugh here.
And that's how I feel, like a conqueror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's how I'm supposed to feel. Oh, this is good.
Yeah. armor up, girl, because now you can just, now there's nothing that, all you need is your little wrist bracelets, Wonder Woman. You can be in the knee-high boots and the tight onesie and all of that stuff and your little crown. All you need is this like pow, 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 and a whip every now and then. Whip us into shape. No, you can't talk to me that way.
Sean, can I offer a
Sure.
supportive observation?
Absolutely.
Now that Brittany is kind of waking up from the world of sleepwalking. In near the border of Slovenia and Italy, there's a wine region.
Mm-hmm. Been there.
And that area has been fought over for centuries. The borders change back and forth. But after the dissolution of Yugoslavia in 1991, some sons of some of these winemakers, they gained a freedom that their fathers never had. So they now had the opportunity to express themselves in new ways. And one of these young winemakers was named Marco, and he has a winery. It's called Dolfo. Marco is first and foremost a farmer, but he was interviewed by I'll say a soulmate of mine some time ago. And he was very passionate about the land and the unique wines he produced. He was just fully expressive of who he was, what his values were, what his view of reality was, and how it was expressed through the product that he created. And then he, after my friend interviewed him, he offered to take him to lunch. So they go to this restaurant, and behind him up on the wall in this restaurant was a blow-up poster of the logo that Marco puts on his wine bottles. And if you notice, if you look, there's a stick figure that looks very loose, almost whimsical. But there's a unique characteristic of the stick figure. It has a penis. As Marco described his wines to my friend, he pointed out over his shoulder, he said, my friend asked him, said, Marco, why do you have a penis on a stick figure that's on your label? Marco says, because I'm trying to explain to you, we have nothing to hide. We want to express the full characteristics of this region, of this soil, of these winemaking practices, exactly as it is, without any manipulation to make it anything other than what it is. In the winemaking business, you can do things in the process to try to make your wines more like French or Italian or American, but we have nothing to hide. That's why I have that logo. We are naked. We have nothing to hide. Our wine is pure. It reflects the soil, the region. It pays tribute to my ancestors. So it kind of begs the question for all of us, maybe for you, Brittany, what is it you have to hide? Not that, I mean, that's something that we all have to answer. But, and the other point is that, we can go through life manipulating our states of our emotional states. We can do things like, I do it myself. How many times have I said, one of these days I'm going to look back on all this and laugh, so why wait? That's a manipulation of my state. But what if I have an underlying philosophy that guides me? What if I've looked at my values, what's important to me, and decided, come hell or high water, or in particularly because I have nothing to hide, these are the values I'm pursuit of. Yeah, things will happen from time to time. I'll get irritated. I'll get infatuated. I'll be angry. I'll be all kinds of emotions. But if I have a philosophy grounded in my values that I've taken time to figure out, I don't know that I'd put a penis on my logos, but this winemaker had nothing to hide. He knew what he had. He knew what he valued. He knew why he was in business. And if it bothers you, too bad. That's my brand.
I think it's a great question. What are we hiding? What are we afraid that if people see it, they'll think less of us? Then what is the real connection? So I think that's funny. I'm going to have to look for that. I've got friends in Slovenia. If the winery's still around, I'm going to ask them to find me a bottle of that and send it to me. That's kind of cute. I like that.
But again, if we're sleepwalking and don't recognize that opposing that opposite to the question, what do we have to hide, is the absence of a philosophy, the absence of a well-defined foundation on which we're taking a stand. We're just going to be fly swatting at emotions as they pop up day by day as we sleepwalk through life without really making any change, without really affecting people, without really living the full life that we could. The psychology and emotions and leading from the heart, all those things are good tools. But if we don't have a solid foundation underneath it, we won't have a winemaking business. Just an observation.
Absolutely. I think that's important, so that as we start to look at this, what is the story that what got us here, right? I kind of kid around in my farm boy lingo. What got us here can't get us out of here. So what are some of the things that cause us to become aware of who we are at the moment we are, right? And what was the driving force that got us here, and what philosophies need to change, what principles? Because principles are what guide us. Tactics change, right? If your principle is to communicate with people, and the tactic used to be fax machine, then email, and then Facebook and Snapchat, and now TikTok, and all of these different places that you can communicate. The question then becomes, what guiding principle that you have might need to be investigated. So, great stuff. Thoughts, comments, feedbacks, folks. Mandy, how are you doing this morning? She may not be next to her computer to mute or unmute.
Did you mean Maddie?
Yes. Hey, Maddie.
Oh, hi, Sean.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Funny how this topic comes up about thoughts and things and stuff. You got any input, maybe, possibly? Anything you learned recently? Became aware of recently?
Yeah, actually, last night I was reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill,
Cool.
and
I love that book.
it's a great book. Like I just, started actually diving deep into it. And the first chapter actually talks about that thoughts are things. That's what it's titled.
Oh, cool. And so were you reading that? Did you read that chapter?
Yes.
Cool. What'd you pick up from it? From your perspective, just from your perspective, what were any ahas that showed up for you?
Well, basically, what I like the most is, well, how I interpreted it, because it doesn't say it like in the chapter.
That's all I'm asking. Because when you read it again, it'll be a different interpretation. When you read it again, it'll be a different interpretation. So what are you getting from it now?
So basically, your thoughts shape your mind. It's almost like as if your thoughts are like a radio frequency that you put out into the world, and then that thought, like that, you thinking on that frequency brings in like all types of situations, opportunities, people, and things like that that are gonna shape your reality just by that thought. So like for instance, if you have a good thought, a successful thought, a thought that you're gonna do something great, then good things happen and you can see through like your goal to the end because you're thinking that thought, these good things. Now if you think something like negative, like, oh, I can't do this, like that's impossible or something like that, then of course that's the result that you're going to get, because your thoughts are things, your thoughts dictate your reality. So crazy.
Isn't it crazy?
It
So
really is.
when Joe Dispenza said the other day, you're only subjective to information based on the emotions on your current emotions. Where do you say this here? That's kind of what that, you see how everything gets translated? There's only 26 letters in the alphabet. And the thing that surprised you the most is when you start to think of your brain actually sending out that frequency, sending out those radio waves. And then all of a sudden, what's the speaker of the radio waves, right? In a radio, it's the speaker is actually the speaker, and we hear the sound coming out. What do you think the speaker is in our life?
Our minds.
Well,
our thought.
The speaker, where we actually hear the result, meaning where we actually see the thoughts. Isn't it in our actions?
Our reality.
Yeah, our reality, our personal reality makes up our personality. And so we've got to decide, is it our personal reality that makes up our personality? Or is it our personality that makes up our personal reality? Based on this, it's our personality. The thoughts we are having makes up our personal reality.
Right.
Right. So if you've tuned into Crappy 101 every day, Tuesday, Crappy 101 is going to be your reality. You live in Crappy 101 land.
Right.
So then how do you, now that you have this information, what can you do to change your personal reality to make your personality different? Do you have to get a new radio? Well, you can't get a new mind.
No.
But Bob was talking about his new principles. Maybe the new principle is there's some things in your house you need to get rid of, some pictures, some visuals, some things that make up your personal reality.
I'm going to do that today.
Isn't it crazy? Right?
Yeah.
When we want to lose weight, everybody says, if you hired a coach, if you hired a nutritionist, first thing they do is come in and clean out your pantry, wouldn't they? They're going, we're getting rid of this, we're getting rid of this, we're getting rid of this, oh my God, I can't believe you have this. And you'd be sitting there going, but I just bought all that. How many of our thoughts have we bought?
Lots.
Yeah.
And some of them are even not your own thoughts. Like some of them are like, thoughts. Yeah. That like, maybe a family member, mom, sister, brother, uncle, teacher, friend, neighbor, somebody gave you that thought and you bought it. Like they told you, oh no, you can't do that.
What
Oh,
per-
that's too big of a goal. You should give up.
Maddie, what percentage of life do you think you were given the thoughts? What percentage of the thoughts you carry do you think maybe you might have been given possibly?
Oh my gosh, like 70%. Like,
Closer to 98.
really? Wow.
Think about, you speak English. Do you speak another language?
Yeah, Spanish is my first language.
Okay, so Spanish is your first language, English is your second language. How come, what if you came to this world wanting to learn French? How come they didn't teach you French?
I don't know. Maybe because I didn't decide to.
Because you were a slave when you were a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
You were told what to say, what to eat, what to wear. How much freedom did you have as a 2-year-old?
0.
But how much joy did you have as a 2-year-old?
Plenty, I'm sure.
And now that you're this adult with complete control, where were you more joyful, at 2 or now?
As a kid.
Why did we lose our joy? We got freedom. We got freedom. We got freedom. You can do what you want. You can get on this call. We have freedom. And we're more a prisoner now than we were then. Why? Because of our intellect. Because we haven't been tuning into our radio. We've not been paying attention to thoughts or things. We had more freedom. We had less freedom as a 2-year-old. As a 5-year-old, we were told what to do, where to go, what church, when to go to, we would cry and whine and we would get spanked and we would get all of this stuff. And now we have all this freedom and we are more in prison now than we were when we were 2.
Prisoners of our mind.
Because we have this sharp intellect that we want to get sharper. We want to learn more. We want to get the next thing. And I'm going to get so smart. And I'm going to be able to cut everybody up as soon as they're around me. The problem is the knife is facing the wrong damn way and we're cutting ourselves up. And we're afraid to touch our intellect anymore because every time we touch it, it cuts us.
As you said the other day, the biggest fear we have is that people will find out who we really are, ... when we get angry about being in prison the way we were all our lives.
And as soon as we break out, everybody's like, oh, well, we knew that was you. We were wondering why you were hiding. I can promise you. So just by everybody that's on here, there's 30 folks on here. So I'd like you all to participate in this right now. Some of you know Brittany, some of you don't know Brittany. All of us have gotten to know Brittany on this, but some of you know her physically in the physical world. Others of us just here in the auditory world. How many of us have fallen more in love with Brittany since she's had the breakthrough for herself? If you love her more, type LM, love more, or LL if you love her less. Brittany, you just came through, you came out of your shell and you cried and you snotted and you did all of that stuff and you boo-hooed and blahad and this, that, and the other. And we all love you more because we're now getting to see you. And you're like, well, I don't know. I don't have a story. I don't have a story. And then all of a sudden we heard your story. We heard a version of it. And it's like, oh, we fall in love with you. Oh my God, I want to pick you up and put you in my pocket. Now she's got very big nails. I don't know how big they are now, but they may cut you when they go in your pocket. But other than that, I think we can squish her in our pockets. Y'all get this? Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. We love you.
Can I interject really quickly?
Absolutely.
So,
like I'm gonna stop you.
that just made me think about how, like, you kept saying thoughts are things, thoughts are things, thoughts are things, and we hear about manifestation all the time. And I've experienced someone who fought their way into illness, right? And I didn't necessarily understand it. I was like, oh, why do they keep doing this to themselves? And now it's making so much sense because for my own example, I'm like, oh my God, I'm too much for people. People are going to shy away from who I am. People are not going to like it, blah, 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 blah. That is what ideally I'm always going to feel from people, regardless if that's the energy that they're emitting or not, because so it's projection, Oh, hey dog. So it's just mental projection, emotional projection. And once me realize that it's just a veil of nothingness, then I could just remove that veil and see and receive everything for what it is. Wow, I'm good.
This is what happens. So you were just meditating. Do you realize that? That's called a walking meditation. You weren't moving, but it's called a walking. When you walk through your own life and you actually have this conversation, you're like, oh, well, this is that, oh my, okay, I got it. I don't need you. That's called a moving meditation. So sometimes if you just want to walk around just walk around outside, walk around inside, but just walk and you get into this state and all of a sudden because there's a part of you that says, yes, I want to do this. And there's a part of you that says, but sometimes guys, listen, when you're 5 years old and you're trying to answer the teacher, you got to stand up and move. If they tell you to sit still, we can't, it's like our brain's going to explode.
And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for all the love. Okay, bye.
Yay. Byram, you got a question? You wanted to share something?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh man. Well, first, man, I want to say I appreciate you, for the value that you're giving right now. And then also, Bree, it's crazy. I know Bree for a while, and I was talking to her yesterday. She's like, "Yeah, I've been trying to get you on Sean's calls. You never get on." I was like, "Boy," so she, she told me she texted me this morning and sent me a link. I finally hopped on. And slid, man. Slid. I gotten a lot of value from everything you guys are talking about right now.
Cool.
Yeah. And one thing specifically,
sure,
that I've realized, especially like kind of one of the things that I've been working on, like how you said, it's not like it's not like it does, like 21 days, a form of habit, 90 days for the sink in. You like, that's not true. It takes a year. One like relation with my business that I'm starting to see like that has making an impact. I used to have seek a lot of validation from people, and that caused my business to not grow as fast. Like I do a lot of work and everything, like achieve a lot, but I was like, why does nobody care? You know what I'm saying? But now it's so fun. I don't care what anybody feels anymore, or anybody seeking that validation anymore, and business is like growing a lot more now. So that's kind of like one thing I want to share.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Listen, when we seek validation from them, that means they have to have the frequency, as Mandy shared, that if thoughts are things, the brain's a radio frequency, and if we're seeking for validation, so are they, and they can't get it if you're both seeking for it. So when they get a, hey, good job from you, and you really could care less whether they do it or not, that's the validation they were seeking. Everybody's seeking that. The challenge is can you give it? And when you give it by standing tall in your own 2 feet, your own shadow, in your own self, they're like, well, if he can do it, I could do it. And that's the validation they really look for. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Sean, could I say something?
Sure.
So hey, how you doing? I hopped on a little late. But last time I asked you about meditation, I told you about when I reach about to 25, 30 minutes, my hips start to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So today, when I first wake up, last night I really set like an intention for when I wake up to meditate right away. So today I wake up around 8 o'clock, so I have to use the bathroom, and it's dark out and a glass drops and I have to clean it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just stay up, meditate now. So I listened to Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of his guided meditations. It was Water Rising. So I started listening to that. It was really helping me. I feel like when I'm meditating, I have a good job of being in a relaxed state, being in the moment, and visualizing. So I reached up about to 50 minutes. So this was the longest I've ever gone. I reached about to 50 minutes, and then my hips and back are hurting so much. And it was already hurting like about 30 minutes. But I was like, Sean told me if I push through this, I'm most likely, that's when my breakthrough is going to happen. So I tried pushing through it. And then about 50 minutes, I had to stop and get up and stretch because like my hips was just hurting so much. And I continue after that. Now, with meditating, I understand that the feeling is the secret. I have to really feel when the success I have in the future. So I'm meditating, I'm visualizing me with a 6-figure trading account, me at Chairman 25. But I feel like I'm having a little trouble right now, just opening my heart and really feeling it with my heart. Like I can visualize it up here, but when it comes to like my heart, I'm having trouble like just opening my heart so that it can be in coherence with my brain.
So question, so I would encourage you to stretch more, right? Do yoga. Yoga is not stretching. Yoga is oneness. People get this confused. They go hot yoga, this yoga. It doesn't matter whether it's hot, cold, side of a mountain, upside down, naked, fully dressed. Yoga is oneness. It's not stretching. So first of all, let's get through that. So but I would encourage you to become more one with your body, right? And when your hips hurt, that's because you're sitting in a way that they're not used to. So just stretch a little bit more. But the other question that I have for you is this: when you're focusing on a lot of things, and when you focus on a lot of things, you're in your brain. You said I can't feel it because you're giving it brain things. This 6-figure trading thing that you want, is that an hour? Is that a year? Is that a month? What's 6-figure trading?
I don't really know how to answer that.
Yeah, so that's why that's why you can't get to your heart, because you're still trying to figure that out. Why would it be 6 figures at all? Why does it, how much money does it take to make a homeless person happy?
Not a lot.
How much money does it take to make a rich person happy? Not a lot if you're the one that picked their kid up from school. If you're the one that your son dated their daughter and made her happy, didn't cost a whole lot. See, what happens with a particular mindset of a particular group of individuals is you refer to yourself as 6-figure income earners and 7-figure income earners and 7-figure mentorship and 6-figure mentorship. You know what all that means? Not a goddamn thing. Because if it was truly 6-figure mentorship, guess what if you paid attention to it, what should you be earning right now?
6 figures.
So are you?
No, not currently.
So then it ain't 6-figure mentorship. That's bullshit. I'm just getting clear, because I keep seeing these things and these numbers and references. It ain't true. And we wind up talking about a story. We wind up saying these words, and it's like, I'm 6 figures on my way to 7 figures. I'm 3 letters on my way to 26 letters. I'm still trying to figure out the frickin' alphabet. Why are we anywhere? Why are we any place now on our way to something else? Why aren't we all of it now? What would all of that bring you? Why are we waiting on it all to be sometime in the future? Why isn't it now? Why aren't we running around like the label with our weenie out? We got nothing to hide. But we keep labeling ourselves, and every time we label something, we fraction the world. Can't you just be the best dang human being right now? Why is somebody else's goal or target or service or technique or process or something else you got to work for? You're the best human being there is right now. And you want your business to double and triple and grow up? Then be the best one you are right now. Well, I'm just getting started in this business. Okay, there's what Mandy said. There's the radio wave out. I'm just getting started. Can you listen, I say this to all of you. Can any of you be better than you are in this moment? In this moment, in this moment, in this moment. Can any of you be any better than you are in this moment? We can't. We can only be as good as we are in this moment. It's this desire that we have. It's the frequency we have of absolute joy. If the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich is true, I believe it is. If thoughts are things, you're saying, as one day I'll be great. One day I'll be six figures. One day I'll have this trading account. And the reality of life is looking at it going, you're so full of shit. Your eyes are brown. Have you not looked at what your bank account is? Have you not looked at what your life is? Have you not looked around? You got no team, you got no money, and you got people leaving you by the dozens. You got people coming in by the dozens. What are you, a turnstile? Why can't you be the perfect soul right now in this moment? I am the best Sean Murphy there has ever been. Oh, I'm better now. Oh my gosh, because I just had the thought that I was better there. I'm better now because the unlimited is coming to you. The unattainable is coming to you. And the ultimate of possibilities, unlimited possibilities is coming to you right now. And you're limiting it by six figures? You're limiting it to a trading account? You heard you giggle, didn't you? You just heard the giggle, didn't you? You're like, damn, I've been limiting myself. You are limiting yourself because here's the thing, you are limitless. You are limitless. When you wake up, listen, when Brittany wakes up, you see how Brittany's changing. When we all wake up, I do my best every day. God, I tell you, when people tell me I got it, I'm awake, I'm like, man, you ain't even stretched in bed yet. You ain't even gotten out of bed yet. Why do I know? Because I'm finally, I think, I hope, I pray, I believe I'm sitting on the side of my bed. I haven't even gotten out of bed yet. Woo! I've had somebody who came into my life 12 months ago, 14 months ago. Pink robe lady. She's unleashed something inside of me from me and my spiritual side, my connection. The reason I say this is because you keep listening to people who are limited. You keep following their directions based on for you to get to where they are. Why do you have to get to where they are? Why can't you just blow right the hell past them? If their invitation is so strong, if their information is so strong, why are you trying to follow it step by step? Quantum leap it. Start where they're at now and blow them away.
Come on, Sean. Come on. Woo, you a whole beast, boy. Come on.
You better preach today.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Better, he is preaching.
Oh, he said in the Bible, the least of you can do that. The least amongst you can do this and more. Why are we fighting? Why are we letting the enemy win every day when we go, I got to struggle. This is a struggle. Oh, we got a virus. Is there a virus in your house? If there ain't no virus in your house, there ain't no virus in your world. And why are we letting what's happening? I pray for the people in Italy. I pray for the people in Iran or Iraq who just went on their national holiday, 3 million of them, and they won't shut them down. There's going to be some numbers coming out of there like you've never seen. I pray not. Maybe it hadn't got there. But why is all of this happening? Why is all of this happening? You can say, well, you know, when we talk about, well, why would God let this happen? Why would God let... Do you think this coronavirus is something new? It just showed up because of what's called a perfect storm, a time and place, and somebody did something silly. Somebody ate a bat or whatever the heck they say it was. All I'm saying is that all of this happened because it's happening, because we won't pay attention to the word. And the word was, take care of you. Leslie Hebert says it all the time. Go be good to you. People aren't being good to you. They're thinking, oh my gosh, I gotta be with my friends. I need this community. You can have community right here, right now. How many people do you need in your community? Don't you need just one to take care of you? Don't you need just one to fall back in love with you? Why do we need to let everybody else fall in love with us? Well, we're human nature. We're human beings. We like to connect. Well, why would they connect? I don't need two people who are bitching about life to get together. You know what that turns into? Why are we looking for somebody else to lead us? Why are we looking for somebody who's got money to lead us? You know what the problem is? They ain't got the money. Why do we think Elon Musk is this amazing soul? He pours it all back in. Why do people find fault with him? Because he pours it all back in. He went to places in Texas. You know, you think of where he's at in Texas. There ain't no rocket scientists in Texas, but he's making them. Why are people following you? You ain't a leader. You're leading yourself. When you decide to lead yourself, when you decide to wake up, when you decide to stand in your own, how have I been sacrificing my life for somebody else? Listen, they did away with sacrifices a long time ago. Why are you what's Real Talk Kim say? Why are you letting people cut you? That's something about bleed. What'd she say, Rhonda?
Why are you bleeding on the people that didn't cut you?
Oh, whoo! Why don't we start to have a conversation? I asked somebody the other day, somebody sent me a message last night going, man, I'm getting so close to closing people. I'm getting so close to people, but they wind up not wanting to do what I want to do. They wind up leaving. I said, tell me what you do. Tell me what you sell. And the first sentence was, I sell an opportunity to a 7 trillion figure market, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to throw up. I just went, are you kidding me? You know what you're selling? You're selling an opportunity for somebody to find themselves. You just happen to have a vehicle. I promise you, nobody wants your vehicle. Nobody wants my vehicle. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's talking about money. Nobody wants to be around somebody talking about success unless they got it. And you ain't got a 6-figure income until you want it. And when you want it, you have to become it. You can sit there as a 6-figure income earner right now, can't you? Every one of you, can't you sit there as a 7-figure income earner? Because here's the problem. You want to know what the problem is when you get your 6 figures, you're going to think you don't deserve it. That's why it ain't showing up now. Because when 7 figures shows up, you're like, what am I doing for this? I'm not doing anything. I'm talking to people every now and then. And then the other challenge is people talk about 6-figure income, 7-figure incomes. And I look at your Instagram, I look at your resume, and there ain't one more thing about leadership on there. You haven't taught me about one lesson you've learned. You've showed me you're standing underneath the Eiffel Tower. You've standing me, you're underneath you're standing looking off into the distance. You're gazing off into the distance. This ain't no photo shoot. You're not going on the cover of Vogue. You're trying to help people realize they need time. They don't have time. You're trying to help people. They need money. They realize they don't need money. It ain't an attack on you. Why don't you teach the lessons you learn? You know, it used to be everybody would take a screenshot of these pictures and you'd post out 7-figure earner this morning. I got on this morning, you know, those, and people, there was up to 900 people a week on my Instagram, right? When you look at your little Instagram, how many people came to you? And you know what it's back down to now? 200. Why aren't people posting out? Why aren't people taking screenshots and going, oh man, what I learned today? Because you weren't getting likes on it. You weren't getting likes because you weren't showing your $800, $2,000, $5,000 suit. You weren't showing your watch. You weren't showing that you were having a filet mignon and lobster tail dinner and and you couldn't afford it. You're like, shit, I'm not gonna, man, what am I gonna do? I got my phone bill coming up. You're letting your alligator mouth overload your hummingbird ass and you can't get the job done. When you start to fall back in love with you, when you start to fall back in love with the human being that's sitting across from you, and you absolutely, it's spicy in here. When you fall in love with the human being that's sitting across from you and you go, how can I help? You know why you're not asking, how can I help? Because you haven't helped yourself. You haven't figured out how to stand on your own 2 feet. You haven't figured out how, listen, I promise you, somebody has a conversation with Brittany today. Somebody has a conversation with Michelle today. Somebody has a conversation with Gina today or Brianna today. They are hearing something totally different. This fake it till you make it, man. I'm gonna tell you, I'd use the same F word. I'd use a similar F word, but I'd faith it till you make it. Listen, I'm scared right now. I'm not sure what's going on, but I can tell you this: I got people. Listen, I got invited to a call to help people get out of this stress. Listen, if nothing else, you'll have a giggle. If nothing else, we'll have something we could do together. But if I look at your Instagrams, how am I supposed to know you're a leader if I look at your Instagram? You never even look me in the damn eye. Everybody's off looking off into some thing, right? And if they are looking me in the eye, it's some kind of crotch shot. Please, come on.
Get him, Sean. Get him.
I'm just trying to wake you up. This is the daily awakening. And if you want to have a legacy, if you want to build something that is absolutely can't be torn down, you got to build people. If you want something that's going to last a lifetime, if you want something you can truly travel to every country in the world and somebody will take you into their house, you got to build people. You say the name of your company one more time. You say the name of your business one more time. You have fractionated your opportunity to be limitless, to be unlimited in the world. You know how many of you have no idea what I do for a living?
I know, I see.
Anybody have any idea? You have no idea what my company is. You have no idea. And you know what it's going to take you to find out? A hell of a lot. Why? Because I don't build a company. I build you. I build people. You all are on my team, whether you like it or not. You show up here, you're on my team. Because we're changing the world. This ain't about building your business, my business. I listen to the insanity of the questions sometimes that you guys have been taught and go, wow, okay, so how's that working for you? How can I help you? Here's a suggestion. Now, Stan, you know this ain't directed at you, brother, right?
Nah, of course not. You're
Okay.
bringing the heat right now, and it's helping everybody out. I'm just here.
We're just gonna burn off the illusion, right? This is people. Some of y'all been walking around in a fog. You are already a 6-figure earner. You're a 7-figure earner. Because how long does your earning last? Listen carefully. Not how much do you make on an annual basis. How much money have you made in your lifetime? Some of you have already made over 6 figures in your lifetime. So aren't you already a 6-figure earner? Listen, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. There's people who in their lifetime will never make it to make $50,000 in their lifetime. In their lifetime, they won't make over $50,000 at $1 a day. I've generated millions of dollars of income in my life. My trainings and teachings have been responsible for over $2 billion in sales. Do you ever hear me talk about that? When somebody wants to get pissy and they want to have a pissing contest, I got stats. And the only reason I'll get into a pissing contest with them is because they don't want to listen to anything else. Sometimes they got to realize, ooh, okay, maybe I should listen to you. You don't have to. Is this helping? Is this helping, Stan?
Nah, yeah, definitely did. I'm definitely have to stop putting limitations on myself. I am limitless. And you definitely brought some good energy right now. I'm just lost for words right now. I'm very
That's
grateful. Though.
good. That's
I'm
good
very,
because
very
you got to
grateful.
make a new story. I love y'all. Ashley, you got your hand up, my love.
After that, I don't even know like if I have a question. It's like you really tore apart everything. And the thing that's crazy is like, regardless of like what business it is, I think for me, that was one of the things that I originally saw that I was like, people, and you always talk about this to where like people don't care about money. Like I know people always put in, regardless of what business, people will be like, okay, I've made 6 figures today. I made 6 figures in a month. I made 6 figures in 30 days, like whether it's real estate, trading, like whatever industry people are in. But I think the piece that I got from earlier and from what you said is like 2 questions. One, defining who you are. Because like you said, I think a lot of it comes from being authentic. And you were talking about not being scared of hiding who you are for people, because people are going to be more inclined to gravitate towards you for being real, because especially now in society with social media, with everything, people put on fronts. And you can't really decipher from what I'm seeing as far as like visually who's actually authentically themselves and who's not. And then secondly, the importance of value without expectation. And I think the reason I said that is especially where Brittany had talked about $25,000 for free was too expensive, to me is mind blowing, because in my head, I'm like, okay, people always talk about how things are too expensive, but staying in your current state is expensive. The fact that you said people won't make more than 50,000 in their entire lifetime is hard for me to fathom. I was like, in the age that we live in, I don't even understand how it's possible. I know it's possible, but it's the fact that I think people put limitations on themselves. And on this call, I think one I want to thank you for is because you're requiring us to release the limit that we've put on ourselves. And I think that's a reason why we keep coming back to the call, because I know for myself, at least, I had an initial expectation of where I felt like my ceiling was. But after your 5-minute really awakening, dismantling, whatever you want to call it, there is none. Like, and I think going back to reading Think and Grow Rich, because I bought that again, I have it on PDF or whatever, but thoughts are things and your thoughts are limitless. So I don't understand why we would work in a space to where we confine ourselves to the boxes or other principles that society tries to put us in. And I think this call is so important because it allows you to take a step back, to dismantle that and understand where your focus needs to be and where your what's the word? Dang, I don't know. I lost the word. I don't even know if what I was saying was making sense.
Perfect sense.
Getting to the next level of your life or your career is less about what you need to do and more about what you need to let go of. And it's less about what you need to do and more about who you need to be, who you are being.
Yeah.
And I happen to be blessed to be on a call with a group of individuals who have been culturally put down, who have been racially challenged, who have been genderly, by gender discriminated against. Why do y'all show up here? I am not the one that you should be listening to, but the reason you show up here, because it ain't about any of that. And it's about helping you break free of what everybody else has told you. Somebody said intense programming. How is it possible that, listen, let's just look at the demographics. You look at the women who are standing up and the guys who are standing up and the people who are asking me questions. Ain't one of you sound like me, look like me, or talk like me. Because this is about you finding a way to break your own addictions. We're all addicted to approval. And we think we gotta reach somebody else's target so that we can stand on stage next to them. There's not a single person on this planet you don't deserve to stand next to. And I would encourage you, begin standing next to yourself. RBP, where are you at?
I'm over here seat belted to my chair, about to flip out of my mind. Oh my gosh. Like what y'all just got, and I put it in the comments, 20 people pay Sean $25,000. That's just to get started to hear this. That's not even to hear all of what he just gave y'all. I feel so blessed over here. I'm writing down questions for this. I'm writing down questions for my Bible study. Like, just to give you a thought, I wrote this down, and this is same topic, but it's totally different too. I wrote, do I try to build Jesus Christ? And why? Why? Because he doesn't need to be built. Why don't I allow him to build me, and I show what he can do for me? Okay, think about that for business. I don't need to build the business that I'm in, that God, the place God's put me. I don't need to do that. I just need to show what it's done for me. So I need to let it build me. I need to build me. It's just an avenue to build me. And we get it mixed up. And I'm like, Sean, I get these messages. I get a lot of messages now from people prospecting me. And I have sent some to some of the leaders going, who's this joker? And tell them to stop. Like, I've literally sent that message. Do you know this joker? Please tell them to stop. Because it ruins where I'm at if I take on that same title. And then here's the other thing. I got a couple more things. Are limits and titles synonymous? And I'm just gonna have to sit with that one for a little bit. Are limits and titles synonymous? And if what Sean just said, that we deserve to stand by anyone, we all look at, well, I should be able to stand by Sean, or I should be able to stand by this high roller, or I should be able to stand by this big leader. If that's true, then the opposite is true. Why ain't you standing by that person that gets they're nobody and help them out? Because if you deserve to stand beside somebody big, you deserve to stand beside somebody small. And here's a big awakening for me. I might be the someone small in someone's life. That could be me. And are they kind enough and gentle enough and loving enough and graceful enough and merciful enough to stand by me? So everything Sean teaches you, and we learn, say the opposite of it too. Yeah, stand by the unranked if you want to give them a title. How about we just stand by each other?
Yeah, it's just people.
Just stand by people.
No
And
titles.
No titles. It's
titles.
literally just people.
We're humans first. We're humans first.
Yes.
Yes, we are. We're all the same.
I think
It's different bodies.
Shift people's perspective.
So then here's the deal. Here's my question. What are you filling yourself with? And I'll ask you this because this is the way it came to me. If I'm holding a glass of wine, my husband loves red wine. I think it's terrible. He loves red wine, like the cardboard bark tasting wine. Can't stand it. If I walk too close to him and he's got a full cup and my daughter runs and hugs me and I bump into him and wine goes down me, is it his fault that the wine went down me and it ruined my white pants? No. Is it my fault that I bumped him? No. It was what was in the glass that caused the problem, that caused the stain. So what are you filling your glass with? And when you fill your glass with something and someone comes by and bumps you, what's going to pour out on them? Are you going to verbal diarrhea? I'm in this and this is what we can do and you can have this kind of life? or when they walk by you and they bump you, are they going to go, I have never heard such kindness. I have never heard such love. I've never heard such mercy. You didn't even get mad when I bumped you. How are you so full of grace? How are you so full of kindness? So what's filling your cup? It's the same thing Sean just told us. He just said it in a, oh my gosh, kind of way. He said it in this amazing way, but he needed to say it that way because we're stubborn-headed at times and we can't hear it and we can't see it because we get inundated with trainings and all we hear is scripts and scripts and scripts and scripts. Let me tell you something right now. The things I've done this week, posting pictures of a 45-year-old white body in a sports bra on freaking social media, there's no way in the world I could have posted that had I not taken out the bad and filled in with love and grace and kindness and not worrying about what people think of me, but knowing that there's some other person about to go under the water and take on water and drown because they needed to see that and they needed to see somebody else step up and go, holy crap. If the poor little white girl from East Texas born in a trailer house can step up and do that, so can I. And what's filling your cup? What? There is less but more of you. Thank you, Rob. It's all white too. I'm sorry if I hurt any of y'all's eyes, but it doesn't matter. So what's filling your cup? What you building? Who you listening to? What you reading? And for the love of God, every one of y'all are some amazing people. Let your social media reflect that. There are some people on my social media that I have to either hide their profiles or I can't sit with my 8-year-old daughter and scroll through them because of what she might see. And I refuse to put into her head anything that makes her objectified as a woman or as a person. I will not look at any of y'all that way. I will not speak of any of y'all that way. You are priceless. You are worthy. You are enough. Quit blocking yourself from success. You're your own obstacle. And for the love of Pete, make people earn coming into your life. Make people earn getting to see you and more of you.
Preach, Rhonda, preach.
Make people earn getting your heart and getting your story. The word exposed can go 19 different directions right now. Rein it in. Less is more. I will teach my daughter as she grows. If she's going to wear a V-neck shirt that's a little lower cut, then she's going to cover everything else. If she's going to wear a short skirt, she's going to cover everything up at the top. You don't have to give it all to everybody because they don't deserve it. And they'll cut you and you'll bleed on the people that didn't cut you, like Sean said. So if you're bleeding, let's find you some Band-Aids. Let's find the source of what cut you, forgive it, let it move away from you. You've loved it long enough and now it can go. And let's help you step into truth and mercy and grace and kindness and love and joy and peace, because that will affect you in such a way that when someone walks by you and they bump you, they ain't going to get crap poured down their leg and then get pissed off. Does that make sense? Are y'all feeling what I'm feeling? Are you picking up what I'm putting down out there?
Yes. Yes.
Good, because every one of you are worthy. You're so worthy. And if each one of us could see the other through the eyes we see the other with, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The potential you see, it's unstinking believable. So I'm going to leave you with the thought, well, potentially leave you unless Sean asks me for something else. I'm going to leave you with the thought that I wrote down for myself that my Bible study ladies are going to get. And it was this thought: do I have to build Jesus Christ? No, but why? Why do I think that? He doesn't need to be built. Why don't I allow him to build me and I show what he has done for me? That right there is the best business model, I think, ever.
I don't, I hear, go ahead, hold on. I hear her ask that question or come up with that question. And I've known her for lifetimes, but in this world, it's only been like 14 months. And for me to hear her ask that question, it's like the roof just got, I mean, there was an earthquake that just happened. I'm like, this is the woman that I'm riding into Las Vegas with. And she's like, oh, I hope this don't get on me. And I hope from that to this, man, when I tell you I sit and I wonder what was the thought that created that question, this one is days long of contemplation for me. It's like, how did that just show up? Because that is beyond huge. That's paradigmical, if there's such a word. That's just, I'm still in awe of that. Do I have to build Jesus? What?
That was the sound it made as it ran through my head. Well, what?
Because yeah, that one's gonna need that one. That's. So go ahead, Ralph. You were gonna share something, brother.
Oh no, I was just about to say Sean part 2, Shonda.
I love
it. The kinder, gentler side. So here's the thing. Yeah, I got lit up. And you guys know I don't, that's not my way. That's not my way here. Let me put it that way. Why? You're giving me your time. There's a fragileness in our relationship. The numbers prove it. There's a fragileness in our relationship of content, of context, of the way you feel when you leave here. But because of the dialogue that ensued, today was the day I had enough of you putting on the sheep's clothing. You don't need nobody. You don't need me. Now, we do need to get awakened. We do need a bell rung. And I hope that was the conversation that happened, was a bell rung. Now, where was this side of you? It's always been here. This is, Rhonda's seen sides of this. Leslie's heard sides of this in conversations. Why? Because when you pour into me, when you're saying help, you're getting it. And it's from a place that we both agree we can both go to. See, I didn't have, you've all heard the questions. Do I have your permission to help make you feel uncomfortable, take you out of the uncomfortable feeling? But this is what preachers do from front of altars, and they scare the bejeebies out of their audience, their parishioners. Somebody needs to look up the Greek or the Italian, the Latin of what parishioner means. Does it mean servant? I have no idea. But you got to go back because it's in your demographic, and you go back to church and you go back and you get yelled at, and you go, at least that's how the Catholics are, right? That you are supposed to fear God. Oh, if you do that, you're going to hell. And if you don't go to confession, you're going to purgatory, and you're going to hang out in purgatory for a while. Y'all are hanging out in purgatory, and I'm telling you, there ain't no damn purgatory. There is either Yoda, do or do not. But start to do for you and do not for others. This is your business. You are the one in business. You are the one responsible for the things that show up in your life. Not them, not their message, not their training, not my training. Julio, you got your hand up.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Sean. How's it going today?
Outstanding.
I just wanted to pretty much show gratitude and say, why are we so blessed? And thank you for all that you do. And also, I wanted to go back to when you first hopped on the call with Nino. And I remember you got on and we heard you for like maybe 20, 30 minutes or a little bit more than that. And as soon as I heard your energy, I was like, all right, he's the one. He's the one. And ever since then, it's been history. But I just want to say thank you for all that you do.
I appreciate it. And here's, and I love you too, brother. I mean that. And I thank you for that. And I receive that. Listen, here's the great news about the information you hear and the information you learn and the information that's shared with you and 7-figure this and 6-figure that. And it's all good stuff. Take the nuggets from it. Every bit of it is rain. Use some of it in your own garden. It's all good stuff. So I appreciate you, Julio. Thanks, brother. But everybody,
thank you.
Nobody is trying to do you harm. Even people who do harm, they can only do what they do. That is all who they are. They can't be anybody else. They may get an Academy Award for being asshole of the year. They may be getting Academy Award for being saint of the year. Whatever it is, they're just being them. You can't fault them. They're only learning. Listen, I used to do things like that. I used to be wildly aggressive. That would be kind of my conversation in the beginning, back when I got started, because I used to have 100 people that worked for me. And when you're a manager, when you're an owner, when you're a business owner, when you run businesses, you kind of have the right to tell people what to do. But when you step into this volunteer business and you try to get people to voluntarily show up at meetings, show up at events, sign up for you, the reason that nobody wants to sign up is because they know they're signing up for you. They can see something clearer than you can. You should know they're signing up for you, and you should be able to give them more value back for them signing up with you. We've taken business and we've personalized it. The challenge is we don't know how to be a personal business partner. Michael, you got a question, brother. You there, Michael?
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, wait, can you guys hear me well?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. I got a question for Rhonda, and it's about what she said earlier about letting Jesus build you. Because when I thought of that, I honestly thought about how I prayed at night. And what I noticed that I could possibly change when I pray at night is when I'm talking to God, I'm like acting not like myself. Like I'm almost acting like the saint child that the churches would want you to be, like trying to be all respectful and everything. And I feel like I'm almost trying to build him up rather than build myself up, and have that feeling like, how do I put this? Like I have to be that saint child to go to heaven and all that. And like, at the end of the day, I honestly just want to be myself and become a better version of myself. So I guess that's like a mind shift that I got from that when Rhonda said, let Jesus build you up. It was almost like, even though I know I'm a good person, don't act like I have to be that perfect saint child that goes to church every weekend. And like, how do I put this? Do you kind of get what I'm putting down, Sean?
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words right now, but like my ultimate
hear you.
message was that I got to be myself more when I pray.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So I'm gonna give it to you like this. In the Bible, I don't know if y'all have ever read the story of David. And all the time you'll hear Christian people will say, David, in the Bible, God says he's a man after God's own heart. And God actually said that in the Bible. That's printed in the Bible. When you read the story of David, it started off, he's the youngest of all the brothers, and his dad didn't even want him to come before the prophet to be chosen as king. Okay, so that's how low he was thought of. Even his own dad didn't acknowledge him well, to the point that when you go forward and you see he becomes king, during his reign, he commits adultery. He knocks up a woman who gets pregnant by him, that's married to somebody else, who's in David's army, who then David tries to cover it up by saying, send that guy to the front line so he can get killed. But before you do, send him home so he can have sex with his wife, so he can think that he knocked her up, and we can just have that child explained. And that doesn't happen, to the point where one of his sons, will you shut that door, please? One of his sons creates, hang on, go ahead, shut that door. No. One of his sons has incestual relations with his daughter. Yeah, in the castle, in the kingdom, whatever you call that back then. All while saying he's a man after God's own heart. And then one of his sons, he has to run away from because he tries to kill him. But God keeps saying he's a man after God's own heart. The reason I'm saying this story to you, Michael, and the reason God says David's a man after God's own heart is because every time he came to talk to God, instead of showing up as the perfect little altar boy, saint boy, whatever you called it, he showed up fully as himself. If you read any of the Psalms, the book of Psalms looks like a bipolar book. It's, oh, I'm happy. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad. Oh, I'm happy. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad. David, those are all David's prayers. David would fall before God and he would expose everything in his heart before God and not leave anything out. The good, the bad, the ugly. He laid it out. And that's why God said he's a man after my own heart, because he cleaned his heart and hid nothing from him. So in your prayers, when you say, I hit you with the, why do I got to build Jesus Christ? The reason you felt that is you're not being authentic when you go to pray. You're praying like you think you're supposed to pray. Well, let me tell you, there's no supposed to pray way. Yes, you show respect. Yes, but he knows what's in your heart before you even speak it. So if you've got respect in him for your heart, he sees it. And you can simply say, I respect everything about you, God. I got to lay out. Yeah, I got to lay out what's in front, what's in my heart. And some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's ugly. And what's so crazy, he'll accept it all. Every bit of it, he'll accept. So your prayer time, Michael, should be just like what you and I are talking. If you called me and you said, hey, I need to talk to you, you are not going to have to say, okay, let me guard my words how I say it to Rhonda. No, you're just going to talk to me. And it's funny because the other day, I think it was Brittany and I were talking, and Brittany's like, I got to explain something to you, but I might use some bad words. I'm like, I don't care how you talk. I'll accept you. God will do the same thing. And that's how you get past that. I don't even know how to pray. And I don't know how to build, like I'm building Christ up instead of him build me up. Flip the script on that, because that's a barrier. He already knows everything. Just lay it out. Speak. You will find so much freedom in your prayer time if you just lay it out. And what's crazy is as you begin to do that, the Holy Spirit will begin to fashion different things inside of you. And before you know it, you'll be praying and talking in a total different way. But it's not because one person tells you what to do. Does that make sense?
Rhonda, I cut out. It did. I cut out though a minute ago. My voice stopped working. It was like, of course, because I'm driving right now, trying to take all this in. But could you repeat the last minute that you said? I did understand it. That's what I'm gonna say. like I'm gonna be myself when I do talk to him tonight and everything, and like just be myself ultimately, because like
Let me wrap it up.
that's what I really do. Yeah.
Let me kind of let me put a bow on it for you. So we've all heard Solomon was the wisest man in the world. Okay, we've all heard that. And we've often wondered how in the world was Solomon the wisest man in the world? Solomon was the wisest man in the world because when he prayed and he asked and God said, I'll give you anything. What is it that you want? He said, I want to do what my father did. I want to be able to come in and go out of your presence the way he did. I want to be able to come into your presence and lay it all out and leave with more of you. That's one of the wisest answers you could ever think of. That's why we show up every day on these phone calls. We want to come in and hear everything Sean has to say and emulate the way he loves people and take that back out. It's the same thing in your prayers. You go back and watch the recording, because I don't think I can say it all the same way again. But in essence, Michael, if you called me and we talked, that's how you pray. And if anybody tells you any differently, they're pitching to you their network marketing version of Christianity. Does that make sense, how I just said that?
Yeah, that does. I'm excited now, because now I'm gonna pray and like I'm gonna love it now.
Yeah, you are. And here's what's crazy. He's gonna answer you in a way that's familiar and comfortable with you. But what you have to do to make sure you're hearing his voice and not a chatterbox inside your head, the only way you can hear a quote and go, oh, that's got to be a Napoleon Hill quote, is because you read him and you understand his voice. So as you begin to pray and as you begin to get answers, the more you read some of God's writings, the more you're going to be able to go, oh, that's his voice. No, that's the chatterbox. I don't need to listen to that. I got to listen to this over here. Does that make sense? Because that's kind of like the next step in your prayer life.
Yeah, this is perfect. I got some praying to do. I got some praying to do.
I can't wait. I want to hear how that goes. Because listen, when you get stuff like that and you bring it back to me and I hear it, you teach me. I tell Brandon all this when he calls, all the time when he calls me, you teach me that I'm hearing the right way and that I'm getting out of the way. And then more than likely, you're going to hit me square between the eyes with something that I should be hearing from God. So call me, text me, share it with me, something, because I need to hear how this change in you comes and what it looks like and sounds like.
Will do, 100%.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too, Rhonda.
And Michael, just a brotherly advice, change your damn picture.
This guy is not good.
Yeah, no.
No, please, for the love of Pete, change the picture. I love you.
All right.
I just need your smile. I don't need all the other stuff around it.
Listen, it's probably judging, but I wouldn't do business with that person.
I hear you. Okay.
I love you. I love you.
I love you too, Sean.
It's a great picture. It's a great picture, but I wouldn't listen, because when I do business with somebody, it's a lifetime, not a lunchtime, and my lifetime is 600 generations. So I get to choose. I love you, brother.
Woo! Pray like it's your best friend. That's all, like you're talking to him. That's all. Use your exact words you would use with him. Just talk to him. Don't be afraid of him or anything. No point to fear him.
When I take the cap off the milk and it lands on the floor and it lands right side up, I go, God, you're pretty good. Thanks for being there. How can you get excited over the milk cap landing the right way? And if it lands the wrong way, I'll go, evidently I need to go to the sink. What's in the sink? Thanks for directing me. It's just be grateful if your best friend's standing there and he does goofy stuff to you. How come we think when somebody throws a balloon on our head, we laugh? God's throwing balloons all the time. Yeah, that's commitment talk. Lifetime versus lunchtime. Brandon, you got your hand up.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
I can't even begin to imagine how it's going.
Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness. I had a question, but to be honest with you, after you and Rhonda, after you said it straight and Rhonda gave her input as well. Oh my goodness. It answered my question. And I know that everybody like realizes this call, like it's becoming more and more intentional because of I wake up excited for this call every day. And so for me to get on the call, like it's becoming like more and more meaningful every single time. And so it's pretty amazing. But even just opening my eyes to like my old story and like things that I've hid from other people, things that I would listen to, or like things that people would say about me that I didn't think that was like real, but it's really like me, but me hiding behind who I'm wanting to be and not who I'm destined to be. And so it just puts everything into perspective. And so I really this call is amazing. And so that's my daughter in the background. Sorry.
Y'all hear that? Listen, you can just hush for a second. I just go over there and tickle her. Just whoever did that, do that again. Because that's the high vibration. That just freaks a smile.
Yeah, that was my daughter. She's 3 years old. She's funny. But yeah, just thank you for these calls and everything. I look forward to
for showing up. Thank you for bringing this out to the world, because I can't do it by myself. I mean, I could try. I ain't that good, but I tried in the past and it didn't work. And so for 403 times, I've sat here on this side of the microphone, just given whatever I got. And so there's parts of me that goes, you know, this is pretty expensive stuff. This is experience I can't buy, you can't buy, but I paid for, and somebody better damn well be paying me for it. And I keep getting asked all the time, why don't you charge for this? And I'll hear somebody go, you can't charge for that. And I'm like, well, why can't I charge for that? And all of this other stuff. Listen, it's not worth anything. It's not worth the $25,000 anybody pays me. I'm talking a lot less. You're right, Rob. And that's good. That's the sign of the team going. And you get to sit back as the proud papa and go, ooh, look at that. Ooh, they're having a quarrel. Look at this. And then you get Rhonda, who like kicks you in the shins going, I ain't got to build Jesus. What? That one still blows me away. But I appreciate you being a part of this. And the only reason that you're here is because of the vibration that you've had inside of you.
Yes.
You're here.
Definitely. It definitely puts things into a lot of perspective in terms of like, just like me working to build my business. Well, and I keep saying like after Brittany's situation, I keep realizing I'm saying it. But
join the club.
Every time I talk now, I'm just like,
yeah, because Brittany's a reformed liker. Ooh,
and when I'm talking to my wife, I'm not trying to say it, but I keep saying it, and so but anyway, just thank you, because this call, it just allows me to realize that I'm not selling people on my business. I'm selling people and also just to lead myself so that others can follow, instead of the reverse. And so
You're selling people on the dream you have that you're working towards to give your daughter a better life. Do they want that same opportunity? Yes or no? That's all it is. You're working in a process to give your daughter and your family a better life. Do they want it? Does it really matter the frickin' listen, your truck drives around. It doesn't matter the cargo in it. Every day the cargo changes. I don't care if it's the same box, the same labels that it was yesterday. It's different cargo.
Wow.
You put different gas. You fill your truck up every day with gas, with fuel, with diesel, with whatever it is, with nap gas, with that exhaust gas, whatever it is. You fill your stuff every day. You're putting new stuff in your truck and you're delivering new cargo. Why are we delivering the same shit that didn't work 20 years ago?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you'd be fired if you delivered some of these stories that you deliver in your business presentation. I mean, how many times can you deliver a 6-figure story before somebody goes, do you know what 6-figure? Are you including the 2 decimal points? Because now it's only $1,000 story with 2 decimal points. Just you're working every day to take care of you and your daughter. And here's what I need you to do. I'm going to ask you to do this. When you get off the call, when we finish up this call, go to your daughter, as young as she is, as smart as she is, as brilliant as she is, and just give her the biggest hug, because you got to brag on her today. She got to influence the lives of 30 people today when she giggled before. We all heard it. Say thank you for being this amazing teacher today.
Okay.
Your bride may go, what are you talking? What? Yeah, they heard her laugh, and they all heard her, and she changed everybody's emotion in the moment. That's the power our daughter has. That's the power you've given this creation that you carried for 9 months. I'm so honored to be in this family. Bet you we're never going to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I build people, not friggin' businesses. I will give you a lifetime memory when you go tell your daughter you brag on her. Every time you mention her in a conversation, she's got a cold, she doesn't have a cold, she laughed today. You go home and you tell her you bragged on her. That girl needs to hear that her father loves her and talks about her all the time with joy and wonder and wisdom, and absolutely powers her up to realize that she does need to be talked about in a good way. You be the one that breaks the chains. And you be the dad that brags on your daughter and brags on your bride. I would encourage you, call your bride every day she chooses to marry you. My old lady, I used to punch people in the nose when they call what's your old lady do? You mean my mom, my mother, my father? What's your old man do? My father, my mother? You couldn't disrespect my family like that. And I would encourage some of us to use language that respects our family, because every day they wake up and say yes to the marriage. You get to be the strong one and be blessed. And you can ask her every day, listen, would you marry me today? And you get to call her your bride, because today she said yes. And you get to ask your bride on a scale of 1 to 10, how was I as a dad this week? You want to get serious in your business? You ask, how was I as a dad this week? Scale of 1 to 10. Don't be surprised if you don't get 10s. How was I as a husband? I ask my bride every week, how was I as a husband? Scale of 1 to 10. How was I as a dad when Mason was younger? I ask him now. Sometimes the numbers I'm surprised that the numbers are so low sometimes. I'm like, what? How is that possible? I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that, all in my head. I go, how can I get closer to a 10? You want to take the dialogues away? You want to take doubt and fear and question away? Just ask those simple questions. How was I as a husband? How was I as a dad? You'll get your business going. You'll be freaking rocketing through life like you wouldn't even freaking imagine.
Wow. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome. I love you.
I love you too. I love everybody on this call too.
Isn't it awesome? Hi, Gina.
We love you too,
Gina's
Brandon.
Gina's out underneath a pool right now. Pool screen somewhere. She was. Gina, you got a question, conversation? Do you realize how long we've been?
I don't remember if I have a question now.
What? What? I'm here. I hear you. Where are you?
You can hear the connection is messing up. Hold on.
2.5 hours.
There she is. Gina, where are you? You got to be in Florida. That's like a Florida pool cage.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No. Yeah, I'm in my. But the connection keeps cutting out.
That's because you got something powerful to say.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I hear you now.
Okay, I hear you. I even forgot what I had to say, kind of. But what did I? Oh. Well, yesterday,
By the way,
like I was crying.
Well, hang on. By the way, has anybody told you how beautiful you are today?
No.
Yes, you are. You are. I was just looking at your on the camera. I was like, wow.
And the beautiful sky, the unlimited sky, the illusion of the sky that backgrounds you, just brings out your beauty, brings out your smile. So as you come up with your question, just ping us again and we'll be there. Ashley, you got your hand up, girl.
Make me feel all fuzzy inside.
Oh, good. Ashley, you still there, my love?
Oops, sorry. I didn't realize I still had it up. I don't have a question.
Okay, but evidently I'm supposed to ask you something. So what was I supposed to ask you?
I don't know.
What were you
should know how
supposed to,
this call goes.
what were you supposed to tell us?
Can you hear me now?
Hang on, Gina.
I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to say right now.
What feeling are you experiencing right now?
Excited, and I feel at peace.
Ah, so when's the last time you had that peaceful feeling?
A few days ago. I think it was the last time that I talked on here.
Okay. So as you're on your walk right now, ask yourself this question: how can I maintain this peace? Where did the peace go? And how can I maintain it forever? What would you ever allow to take out of your peace? What could you become the fearful goddess over your peace that nobody could ever attain it, nobody could ever attach it, nobody could ever attack it again? What would you need to do? What skill or talent would you need to encounter and employ right now that your peace is always guarded? Your peace never has to worry about moving, being chased off, ever going away again. I'd ask yourself that question as you walk along your path today.
I have an idea of what the answer is, but I will keep that question.
Okay, cool. And then just see if the answer is the real answer. Put it into the fire. Put it up against every challenge that you've experienced between the last time you had peace and now, and see if it withstands the fire.
Okay. I will do that.
I love your smile.
Thank you.
I love your smile. I love everything about you. I can't wait. You know, how many of you feel, at least I know I do, that when we've never hugged before. Most of us have never hugged before. But I know that because of what's happened in the last 2 months, just be ready for a hug. Yeah, it's going to be a good long hug when we have a conversation. So I just appreciate you. Gina, you back, girl?
I think so.
Yay!
Everybody. I'm still trying to remember my question, but yesterday, like it was my birthday, so like I was getting a lot of birthday messages, but I think I realized like since I've been sending a lot of love messages in general, I ended up getting like more love back, and like people were saying things to me, and I'm like, because like somebody said something to me, and I literally only had a conversation with this person for maybe about like an hour. And like the things that they were saying to me, and I was like, how did you get all of this from an hour conversation? And like saying like, oh, I'm such a positive person and I have such a good heart. But I'm like, I talked to you for an hour. Where did this come from?
And how'd that make you feel?
I mean, it made me feel good. But I don't know if it's like the old story coming back, like again, saying like, what do they see that I don't see? It's like the battle between those two feelings.
So when people share that with you, did you actually ask him, how did they come up with that? How did they?
I did. And he was like, I have like positive energy, and some people are pretty on the outside, but not like pretty on the inside. And the fact that my energy made him want more of it.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
This is when we live in life. We get to, we don't have to. You just get to be you. It's when you're trying to be somebody else that life becomes a challenge. And then it becomes a challenge for us, and it becomes a challenge for everybody we encounter, and it becomes a challenge for anybody else. So just live in your joy.
And I did have a question too. Now I remember.
Okay.
When you were talking to Brittany about shame, I think it was, because the guilt, I don't think I have, well, not consciously knowing that I have guilt, but I know that I have shame issues.
Right. So have you ever gotten frustrated? Have you ever gotten frustrated with a thought and then took action?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like in the last 5 minutes?
In the last 5 minutes?
Yep.
I mean, I guess, yeah, because I said something. I spoke up.
So when the signal wasn't coming in and you wanted, and you didn't, right? And you moved, that was guilt. Just be very clear. That was guilt. You moved. You could have stayed there and went, well, I guess it's me. The signal never works when I want to talk. The damn internet. You got up and moved. That was, you felt guilty that the internet wasn't connected because you didn't want to waste my time. You wanted to, oh my gosh, it's my time to ask, and they need to hear me. Do you get that? And you're now sitting in a place that you weren't sitting in before. If you had a choice, would you be sitting where you're at right now?
Probably not.
No. So guilt moved you to a place you don't want to be. You see how it happens in real life, and you're going, well, I don't think I have guilt issues. We all have guilt issues. But now shame would have been you hanging up and going, I never get to ask the questions I want to ask. Nobody ever wants to hear me. That would have been shame.
Because I feel like I have that like mindset sometimes where I feel like nobody wants to listen to me and nobody values what I say.
Can I change that for you right away?
Yes, please.
Okay, pick your phone up and look me in the eye. Hold your phone up so I'm looking at you in the eye.
Wait.
Ooh, who didn't she just like grow up like by 10 years?
If possible, she got even prettier.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna, if you're gonna have a conversation with me, let me look you in the eye.
Okay.
Let me see you for your beauty. Don't let me see a shadow of you. Oh, there's a little something coming up with all of this. Did y'all see that swallow?
I saw it. I saw it in her eyes.
I swallowed.
Yes. It's just, listen, they're called micro inflections and you can't hide them.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
And what happens is when we get to see you, we get to see all of you. And listen, I'm telling you folks, if you are on Zoom calls now and you're doing lives or you're doing trainings, you're doing your presentations and you got the phone, you're holding it down here, you're giving people a shadow of yourself. You're giving people a shadow of yourself, and that's why they can't connect. Could you imagine if I did the whole training like this? Listen, you guys all need to get going. You need to be in charge of your business. And I'm looking at the camera and I'm watching you. Could you imagine what it would? Did anybody feel something different?
Yes, stop it. Put it back.
Oh, well, that can't make that much of a difference. You're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. Next story.
As you're like speaking to me, all I hear in my head is like, let people see you.
Yes.
Listen to that voice.
Look at that. Did you just see that? I looked in her eyes. She looked in her eyes. She gave me her eyes. No. You looked in the camera. You weren't looking at the screen. See, when we connect, if you want to change your business forever, you want to change your relationships forever, look them in the eye. Be aware. And when you look them in the eye, pay attention to how long they're going to look you in the eye before they start to look away. It'll be about 6 seconds if they're sure in their shoes, because most people can't stand, right? You know, that experiment, if you Google it on, it's probably Instagram or somewhere, Facebook, where they looked at strangers for 1 minute in the eye, just looked at them, not blinked or not turned away. Maybe they blinked. But the tears that would just flow, the conversations that would just flow, the relationships that were created in a minute. Do you know why people can't stay in touch with you? Because you haven't given them anything to touch. Yeah, but this hurts my arm. Good. Get a stand. So, Gina, say, I'm worthy.
I'm worthy.
Yeah. In my devotional today, it says, funny how it says, I am the God who gives and gives and gives. When I died for you on the cross, I held nothing back. I poured out my life like a drink offering because giving is inherent in my nature. We could be saying this about you, couldn't we, Gina? I search for people who are able to receive in full measure. The reason that we're afraid to talk, to hold our phones up, is because they will receive us in full measure. And we're afraid that if they receive all of us, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to give up something else. To increase your intimacy with me, the two traits you need the most are receptivity and attentiveness. Receptivity is opening up your innermost being to be fulfilled with my abundant riches. Attentiveness is directing your gaze to me, searching for me in all your moments. It is possible to stay your mind. Is it possible to stay your mind on me? As the prophet Isaiah wrote, through such attentiveness, you receive the glorious gift, my perfect peace. Well, that just happened. You give all of your attention to others. You focus completely on them. Allow us to focus completely on you. It's a good thing for us. How you feeling?
How am I feeling? I'm feeling. I can't think of the word.
That's good. That's because it's not in your head then.
Okay.
What would your heart say it's feeling?
Probably accepted.
Okay. Give us a look in the camera. And then say something so we go back to your screen.
Oh, is it on me now?
Yeah, there we go. So listen carefully. Every time you look us in the eyes, you touch the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
You fix your hair. Your hair is beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. Your smile is beautiful. Your braces are beautiful. Your cheeks are beautiful. Everything about you is beautiful. We love you for who you are.
I love you too.
Yay! Wow, we've been doing this a while, but it ain't nothing, right? In the history of time, this is quicker than a blink. RBP, thoughts, comments,
Yeah.
wrapping up?
Yeah. I had one more thing. So all this, one thing I wrote down out of all this was, is this your business or is this your gift God has given you? Or is this where God has placed you to grow you? So as you sit and hear Sean talk about, I grow people, not businesses, the business that God has given you, is this your business? Or is it the gift God's given you? Or is it where God has placed you to grow? Because depending on your outlook will depend on what you allow in. And each one of us are sitting, some of us in the same business, some of us in different businesses, but we all sit as human beings. We all sit with a heartbeat. We all sit with everything we need inside of us. So where you're sitting right now, if you look at it as it's just your business, you're going to only hear just business responses and replies. If you sit with it as this is your gift from God, you're going to sit with your hands open, willing to receive whatever it is He wants to give you through this gift. And if you sit with this is where God has placed me to grow, you're not only going to receive business information, but you're going to receive something that changes your heart. And when you change your heart, out of the mouth, the heart speaks. And you'll begin to speak things, and you'll begin to speak life. And people are looking for life speakers, for truth speakers, and freedom givers. So I would ask for you to sit with those 3 questions and allow God to give you a perspective that might be quite different than what it is you're looking at. And I guarantee you'll hear Sean in his heightened awareness the last hour come back into your mind, and you'll gain a whole new perspective that quite possibly will be a total paradigm shift. And I'm super grateful for that.
Hey, guess what? We get to do this in less than 24 hours again.
Yes!
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Bring your questions, bring your thoughts, bring your awareness, bring your ahas, bring your doubts, bring your fears. Bring whatever it is you got. Bring you. Show up, ask some questions, and I don't know, maybe it'll get me fired up again, or maybe it'll put out some fears or something. But here's what I do know. We need you. Right now, there's a transition happening. There's a massive transitioning happening. People are taking their place. People are taking their rightful place. People are awakening because you are the leaders of what's going to happen in the next 30 years on this planet. You're the ones that's going to leave the legacy for the next 600 years on this planet. You. So there you go. I love you all. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits, sometimes on fire, sometimes sitting quietly. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all say bye and love each other.
Love y'all, Misfit.
Love y'all.
Love you, my Misfit family.
Can't wait to see y'all tomorrow.
Everyone have a blessed day.
Be safe, everybody.
See y'all tomorrow.
I see you, Ron.
The dog.
In your face.
Thank you, Rhonda, for everything. Love you.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.